This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. Yesterday, the 109th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide was marked around the world. Crowds flocked to the Demarcation Memorial in Yerevan throughout the day. Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's statement on the occasion was a departure from earlier ones, telling Armenians to stop looking for the lost homeland, as they have one here in Armenia. He further claimed that the Armenian people who lost their statehood hundreds of years ago essentially forgot the tradition of statehood and became victims of geopolitical intrigues and empty promises. Pashinyan's wife Anna Hakopyan was booed by demonstrators after entering the memorial to lay flowers. The group shouted insults about her husband, calling him a murderer and a traitor, to which she rolled her eyes in response. U.S. President Joe Biden used the term genocide in his statement, as has been state policy since he changed it after taking office in 2021. He hailed how, after enduring one of the darkest chapters in human history, survivors began forging a better future for our world. With courage and commitment, they rebuilt their lives. They preserved their culture. They strengthened the fabric of nations around the world, including our own. And they told their stories to ensure that the mass atrocities that began on this day 109 years ago are never again repeated. Demarcation work continues in the vicinity of Voskepar in Armenia's northeastern Tavus region, as Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev reasserted demands for an extraterritorial corridor through Armenia in order to normalize relations. The Armenians are trying to get rid of that provision, but that's not possible, he said on Tuesday, citing a clause of the November 9, 2020 ceasefire statement. Armenia considers that statement to be defunct due to the ethnic cleansing of Nagorno-Karabakh, the largest of numerous gross violations of the agreement by Azerbaijan. Aliyev also insists that Armenia rewrite its constitution to remove reference to the Declaration of Independence, as it refers to the Soviet-Armenian decision for unification with Nagorno-Karabakh. In recent months, Pashinyan has also emphasized the need to change the constitution, but denied it was due to pressure from Azerbaijan. As more stone border markers go up in Tavush, local residents have drawn attention to a likely issue that will arise when the demarcation reaches Kiran's village. The main road through the area briefly crosses into what is set to become Azerbaijani territory. As pointed out by Azaduchun, RFERL's Armenian service, the only detour around it is unpaved and turns what would be a 3-minute drive into 40 minutes. This threatens to practically cut off Kirans from the neighboring village of Voskepar and interrupt traffic on what is Armenia's primary route to Georgia. On Tuesday, Aliyev announced that 10 to 12 kilometers of the border had already been demarcated. Aliyev noted that while the Soviet borders serve as a basis for the process, they should not be followed blindly, as they sometimes result in security problems for the parties. He suggested approaching the issue creatively in order to agree on a border that will be safe and convenient for both sides. The U.S. State Department spokesperson said yesterday that the U.S. welcomes the news that Armenia and Azerbaijan have accepted the 1991 Alma-Ata Declaration as the basis for demarcation. Today, the Russian Foreign Ministry's spokesperson again expressed Moscow's readiness to provide advisory support for the border demarcation process. Philanthropist Ruben Vardanyan's detainment by Azerbaijan was the topic of a 10-minute Christian Amanpour interview with Vardanyan's son David Tuesday on CNN International. Vardanyan is currently in Azerbaijani captivity with a pending criminal case after his arrest on September 27th following the assault on Nagorno-Karabakh. The younger Vardanyan tied the 109th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide with the oppression of Armenians ongoing today. He revealed that while his father had been permitted one phone call a week to his family, they have not heard from him in over 3 weeks. This lack of contact with the outside world appears to coincide with Vardanyan going on hunger strike to demand the unconditional release of himself and the other Armenian prisoners illegally held in Baku. His family believes it is in order to silence his protest and says the conditions of Vardanyan's imprisonment have worsened. He has been moved to a full isolation cell and is not receiving medical treatment. Vardanyan was originally set to be tried by Azerbaijan in January. However, his trial has been delayed until at least May without explanation. His family demands that if the trial proceeds, it must do so swiftly and meet global standards, with international media allowed to attend. They also call for the Red Cross to be given access to evaluate the prisoners' well-being, and that any peace agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan must include their release. On this week's episode of Insights, Eric Hakopian examines the upcoming departure of European Union Special Representative Toivo Klar from his role in the South Caucasus. He analyzes what led to this change and considers its potential implications. The episode also touches on the ongoing recognition efforts for the 109th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. Find a link to the broadcast in the description below. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.